Are foods from the freezer section of the supermarket okay? A question that I get asked all the time, and something that luckily has a very simple answer. In most cases, a lot of the fresh produce that's been snap frozen in the supermarket section is completely okay. Now, what I'm talking about here are your frozen fruits and your frozen vegetables. These can be such an easy, wonderful thing to keep in your freezer at home for a number of different reasons. Firstly, from a nutritional perspective, fruit and vegetables that are frozen when you buy them from the supermarket have been snap frozen. What this means is they get frozen immediately upon being picked, and they get frozen really quickly. And what this means is that they actually retain more nutrients. So when you think about that piece of floppy broccoli or carrot that you might have in the back of the fridge, or the slightly old blueberries or mango that might have been sitting there for a little while, those frozen ones that you've got in the freezer may actually have some more nutrients in them than the fresh options that have been sitting around for a little while. So they can be really, really helpful in that regard. From my perspective, things like frozen blueberries, frozen mango, other frozen berries, frozen kiwi fruit, banana, they can all work really well in baked goods and also in smoothies. So a fantastic addition. I also really like it in porridge as well, actually, come to think of it. Now, the frozen veggies, the texture does tend to change a little bit, and I totally understand when I get feedback from my clients that maybe, I don't really like frozen carrots, a little bit watery. I can absolutely understand where you're coming from there, but think about how you might be prepping it and different things that you can do to help with modifying that. Rather than just having the vegetables sitting on your plate, maybe incorporating them into a bake or into a casserole or something like that. And that can help you to avoid some of that texture that can be a little bit off-putting for some. Some people actually really enjoy having it like that as well. So whichever way you'd like to prepare it and include it can be a really, really great addition. I also think from a convenience perspective, having those frozen veggies means that no matter what you're having for dinner, even if you don't have vegetables left in the fridge, you can grab some from the freezer. So a really simple, quick way to bulk out a meal and help you to meet your daily vegetable requirements. What about proteins? It really depends when it comes to protein. Things like frozen edamame, they're one of my favorites. When it comes to frozen protein options in the freezer section, frozen fish that hasn't been crumbed or had lots of other additional things added to it can also be really great. Crumb fish can also be an okay choice, but make sure you have a look at the packet, and if you want to know what sorts of things to look out for when looking at the packet, make sure you check out our How to Read a Food Label video as well. The other thing I wanted to call out is there's a lot of companies that are starting to get a bit more creative with some different mixes, and this one's a ancient grains mix, and there's quinoa, there's chickpeas, there's capsicum, onion, cauliflower, a whole heap of different things that mean that the meal's sort of almost ready to go, or you could use it as an addition to something else. Maybe you've got a frozen piece of salmon, some frozen veggies and this. What a beautiful mix that's going to end up making. So a really wholesome meal that's also really nutritious and really quick and easy because it's come straight from the freezer too. So hopefully that has cleared up your questions about if freezer produce is okay. So think about what you might be choosing. The same principles of if it's a healthy choice or not come to play as do all other things. But frozen fruit and frozen vegetables in particular are an absolutely awesome thing to keep in your freezer. So I'd highly recommend that you do.